One, two, one, two, one, two, one, two. And the place to be. Put a one in the chat if y'all can hear me. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. I'm here. I am still paralyzed, pretty much. What's up, Keisha? I'm not walking. It's going to be a while. So I'm not my normal self. I won't be so rah-rah. But we're here. God is good. We're here. So my normal is not going to be, you're not going to hear my normal, but I'm going to give you my normal realism. Can I do leg exercises while I'm sitting? Not yet, Darius, but hopefully by next week, right? Hopefully, that's all I can say. Hopefully, but while my mouth is able to move, pause. I'm still gonna give you all that work. Pause. So we're gonna be talking about Megan Thee Stallion's hospital visit. We're gonna be talking about Nicki Minaj, a dangerous home invasion possibility, and divorce talks that I told y'all would be coming. I told y'all would be coming. Hey, what's up, Desi? What's up, everybody? Crimson, what's up, Sexy 60? What's up, Darius? Of course, Keisha in the building. Divorce talks, they've always been lingering, just not very loud. You know, Nicki's circle is now smaller than ever. So you really, 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 really has to know somebody in that circle to get anything of any concrete, right? But we're going to touch on that and a home invasion scare. You see? Even with MAGA, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's not about, what sis is going to have to realize is people don't know where you live because of Democrats or because of this person or that person or Rock Nation. But people are always going to know where you live because of your husband. I mean, it's just plain and simple. And as long as he's your husband, because of his situation, everybody's going to always know where you live. Right? So I'm even going to put out there that let's see if they can't use this as some sort of ploy, because if she can get a formal divorce, right? And I'm not saying I have any sorts of connection or know about to this, but I'm just letting you know what I would do thinking like that. I would say, let's put on record that we're divorcing and you do not live with me anymore. You can stay in this house, right? And I'm going to move to another place where I will not have to then reveal my place of residency because you will no longer be living with me, right? You will no longer be married to me. And then, let's be honest, after a year or so, she can sneak him into a residence. Who's really going to be watching? You know what I mean? After a year from now, if this what is the plan, or you can just say, hey, we'll stay in separate houses for right now. You know, I don't know whether that's her mindset, but if that was me, especially after this and after what happened with Rihanna, that would be my mindset. So we got to talk about that. We also got to talk about Brandy. This whole thing about Brandy is going crazy. Now, anybody who rocks with me will know. I don't know whether I spoke. I know G has spoken on this. I may have spoken on Brandy and Wanya Morris and shout out to my boy Jay Nolan, but I gotta disagree with the young king on this one. And he said that Wanya should be treated the same way as R. Kelly. Because Wanya groomed Brandy the same way R. Kelly groomed Aaliyah. Now, I'm going to disagree a little bit, and I'm also going to speak from a person from the Gen X generation, because that's where I'm from, right? And everyone knows that the Gen X generation is the generation that raised themselves, right? This is the reason why you see so many situations back then that just is cancel potential if it happened today. So many lyrics from back then make people go, oh my God. And what Brandy and Wanya was doing was done pretty much in every other household of a teenager growing up in the 90s, right? Or 80s, late 80s, 90s. What Wanya and Brandy were doing, everybody was doing, right? And the only reason that they had to hide it or felt like they had to hide it was because they were celebrities, right? We don't talk about that. We got to talk about this Jaden Ivey dude who has now, you'll see him. The only thing he's going to do now is become a Kwame Brown, right? Because if he can't be in the NBA, he's going to go out there and find a grift, and it looks like he's already trying to find it. He's found him a grift, and he's going to start a podcast, get people like the same type of people who like Kwame Brown will like him. You see what a big splash Kwame Brown made when he first started, talking about people like Stephen A. Smith, talking about LeBron James. Like, I mean, so he's the type, revering people like Kobe Bryant. So that gets revering Michael Jordan, revering Kobe Bryant, slandering likes of people like Jay-Z, LeBron, Curry. Like they know that there's money in that, right? In that grift. So the Jaden Ivey dude, and Hakeem says, I love Brandy, so don't be hard on. I'm not gonna be hard on Brandy. No, I'm just gonna be real with Brandy, right? I'm gonna be real with Brandy. I'm gonna be real with Wanya because, like I said, I knew about this situation many years ago. We lived through this, right? Now, other people who are in that next generation, 10 years or younger, you're a little bit, if I was 20 during this whole time, or if I'm the same age as Brandy, or a year younger than Brandy, or whatever the case may be, or a year older than Brandy, like if I'm in that situation where Brandy was 15 and we're around the same age, and then y'all are like 10 years under us, and y'all were 5 or 6 years old, like when this was going on, right? Um, a lot of people who were Brandy fans, a lot of her fans were girls who were little girls who were younger than her. So little girls, Brandy was very popular with young girls, right? And the thing about her and Wanya is Wanya, he mentioned this already, and nobody cared. So Wanya had really, maybe 10 years ago, maybe not that far ago, but it was somewhere around there. Wanya already mentioned this. Now, again, the younger the generation gets, I'm sorry, the more immature people become, and the more it's, oh my God, oh, pedo. It's like all these new words that these generations think they created. Like Gen Z really thinks they created the word pedo. And they try to dictate what's pedo and what's not. What's what's the word? He is a predator. What's predatorial behavior and what's not. And where I have a little, the only knock I really have of Brandy, especially with her being from Gen X, sis, I'm gonna get into it. So let's kick it off, though. All right, let's kick it off with Megan. Hold on. So two people. I'm sure. Ooh. Oh man. We're gonna get in. Hold on. I gotta get into this. Hold on. Shout out to everybody, man. We're gonna get into the Nicki Minaj home invasion. We're gonna get into Jaden Ivey. We're gonna touch on Chili, how she may have messed up her bag for the rest of her life. We're gonna start this off with Megan Thee Stallion, but I gotta touch on this right here. Y'all. It's something that I just noticed, and I want to touch on it. Let's see. Wow. Mm. What's up, Mimi? All right, so let me talk about this. See my screen. All right. Y'all can still hear me. One in the chat. What's up, Mimi? So yeah, man, this is nuts. So Florida Democratic politician was found dead in home, and her husband was arrested. The black woman, Nancy Matea Bowen, a Florida Democratic politician giving up to run for Congress, was found dead in her home, and police say her husband has been arrested in connection with her death. What? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Wow. So Nancy Matea Bowen, a Florida Democratic politician giving up for a run for Congress, was found dead in her home, and Police say her husband has been arrested in connection to death. Nancy was the vice mayor and commissioner of Coral Springs. And local police say they went to her home on Wednesday morning for a wellness check and found her dead. Found her dead body. Cops say Nancy's husband, Stephen Bowen, is in custody and her death is being investigated as a domestic violence incident. Police also say there are no additional suspects. So domestic violence, right, claims another black woman life. And not to say that domestic violence is only bad against black women. It's bad against whoever, whatever, women or men. Cops say husband Stephen Bowen is in custody and her death being investigated as a domestic violence incident. Florida Rep. Jared Moskowitz says Nancy was about to announce she was running for Congress, and the Miami Herald reports the announcement was scheduled for Thursday. The outing, citing sources, reports Nancy was going to run in the Democratic primary seat held by Republican Representative Sheila. I hate when they do that. Sheila Surface McCormick, who was indicted for allegedly funneling millions of dollars of disaster relief funds to her campaign. Now, Nancy was elected in 2020 as the first Black and Haitian American woman. And I know that I have people here who are also into politics. You know, that's become a very dangerous job. You know, a lot of young black politicians I've seen a lot of death threats against them. I've seen a lot of jealousy. That's like the new dangerous job if you're black. It's become politics. You know? Sad but true. You really got to watch, you know, nowadays, you know, do you always want to stand for something? But in the crazy country that we're living in and crazy times we're living in, you got to be careful whether you even want to show that you stand for something. This is crazy. We're going to find out. Right. And you know, well, since you put it out there, you know, I'm sure you knew I was talking about you. And I just didn't know if you wanted people to know, but since you put it out there, that I was referring to Keisha. Now, I don't know if anyone else in here may be also into your local offices or whatever. But yeah, that's what I was referring to. You know, these days, especially with young black women, they go out there and try to make a difference and make themselves known. And we already know that the black woman is the most hated on, most discriminated against, and most, you know, one prone to violence against. So, you know, you really got to be careful. And whatever you got to do with your license or whatever, Keisha, make sure you do that. Keep that upgraded. And I mean, we'll find out more on this. We'll find out if somebody, what made that husband, was there ever any other incidents? Jared said, I'm in shock. I was just with her on Saturday. She just buried her brother. She was about to announce she was running for Congress. Nancy was one of the nicest people I worked with, always fighting for a community, always pushing. We better look and make sure that if Nancy had some sort of insurance plan or some sort, most of the time, if it wasn't about an affair, it was about some sort of money. He's probably some bum, some broke bum. Was a husband white? That's a good question. It's a good question. I'm gonna find that out. Um, let's look him up. Let's look him up. She's in Florida. Nancy's husband, Stephen Bowen. So let's look it up. Nancy's husband, Stephen Bowen. Okay. Stephen, Nancy, and Bella. This might be him right here. Let me see. Coral Springs. Let's take a look. No, that's him. He's black. That's him right there. And I see him looking like he's a soldier or a veteran. See? There she is. There she is. So this is old boy right here. He looks like he was in the he's a veteran or what have you. So I can already see the mental health excuse, it's another woman. The mental health excuse. Honestly, a lot of political women today, husbands or boyfriends are being taken care of by the women. Not all, but most of them today. So I like the Clintons or the Obamas. Exactly. And that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking because it came out. Remember the story? We're going to go over that too. I'm going to do a separate video about the fireman where it came out that I believe he was married. He ended up cheating on his wife if he's married. That well-known fireman, that well-respected fireman who just got killed, and it turned out that it was the ex-boyfriend, scorned ex-boyfriend of a girl that he was with. The ex-boyfriend broke into the house and shot the dude, that fireman. So there's another woman. If Mimi says another woman, so meaning he was trying to off her and be with the other woman. And we've seen that happen with that big case. I see the TikTok. Yeah. Yeah, so we're gonna get into that, and I'm gonna do a full video on that because I'm researching. That's gonna be on the other channel that I was gonna start before, the Protect Women channel. That home invasion. Yes, I'm gonna go over that on Nikki Gallo. We're gonna get to that next. The Protect Women channel. I'm not gonna do a Protect Black Women channel. I mean, it's obvious. Anybody who rocks with me knows that I'm all about protect Black women first, right? But I have to also say protect women altogether because, even though white women are not nearly as much danger as Black women are today, they're still in danger, right? And if somebody the size of this dude, you know what I mean? It's just like Alexis Sharkey, right? I have a video coming up about her. Remember Alexis Sharkey. Alexis Sharkey. So remember Alexis Sharkey, who her page is still up. She got murdered years ago. This was her last post right here. Murdered by her husband. Her last post was on November 22nd, 2020, a couple of days short of Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is the day that her husband took her life. On Thanksgiving, 2020. And this was her last post. Right? She said, "Good morning. Today I've decided I'm moving to Tulum for the sinks and overall aesthetics." And this is when she was done with her husband. "I've never been so obsessed with the vibe of a town in my life. P.S. I heard from many people it's different now and extremely overcrowded. I'm here to confirm the rumors are true, but it's still magical. For those who have visited, what was your favorite place?" So at this point in time, she was ready to move on. I think she was seeing another guy, right? She was seeing another guy because she was just over it with her husband. And she was an influencer, you know. She was an influencer. So I'm gonna start my channel for women like the sister who just got murdered and Alexis Sharkey and stuff like that. So on that channel, that's all we're going to talk about. And we're going to put pressure on, we're going to call up the local police in the area that this woman was a woman was killed or what have you, and we're going to find out where they are with that case. All right. So I'm sure some will shut me down, but then there's some that will give out information. So I'm kind of interested and excited, once I'm back walking, what have you, um, to do that. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that real fast. Now, also, before we get started into the topics, it looks as though Donald Trump has given the okay to Erica Kirk to say, "Sue Drewski." He says he thinks Erica Kirk should sue Drewski's A off. They're so jealous, Erica. They're so jealous, Erica, he says. Hold on. So I really don't know how far she'll get with that, but Drewski has to watch out, especially if she has Trump backing her up, because we'll be saying like, "Oh yeah, they won't get nowhere with that," but every time we say Trump ain't going to get nowhere with this and Trump's not going to be, and all of a sudden he's getting away with it. And then nobody has any answers of how he's getting away with it. I don't understand. That's illegal. That's against the law. But it ain't for Trump. So let's tap into this real quick. And then we're going to get with the shits. So we all know what happened with Drewski and he did his little skit about Erica Kirk, right? And now Donald Trump, or Donald Trump, as as Cardi B called him, he has now said that he wants Erica Kirk to sue Drewski, and he will give whatever assistance that she might need. He'll give it to her. Let's check this out.
A thing called Happy Easter. Do we have that? Everyone happy? Anybody that doesn't want, hello, darling. Wow, this is a good table. I like that table. You're doing well, right? Okay. I think you should sue them, but I told her, you ought to sue somebody. They're so jealous of Erica. I said, you ought to sue their I can say you're not allowed to say this. You have to be nicer. Sue their ass off.
Sir, your country is in shambles, right? Your country is in shambles. You and your partners are getting blitzed by Iran. In the process, you're killing American soldiers. You are killing other citizens who have nothing to do with it. Innocent bystanders. You put your whole entire country in danger. And you're talking about suing Drewski. That's the best you got. But he never mentioned names. No names. I know he didn't. He didn't mention any names. And like I said, that's why we'll be saying, oh, how would she get away with that? But when you got Trump behind you, how is he getting away with starting and funding an illegal war? He's not supposed to be able to get away with that, but he is. He's not supposed to be getting away with preaching or spreading propaganda, misinformation, but he does. He's saying Trump 2028 when they know he's not supposed to be able to run, but he still does it, and nobody stops him. So yes, why it seems as though, he never mentioned any names, so she doesn't have a leg to stand on. Well, she's got Trump behind her. And anything that's going to take the pressure off him, he'll find a loophole for. Yeah, let her open a lawsuit against Drewski. What's that fat guy's name? Drewski. You know, the fat guy. He's not very funny. I've never thought he was very funny. He's a fat guy on the internet, but he's not very funny. He's a terrible comedian. I've seen his act before. He's a terrible comedian. Nasty person. He said some nasty things about Erica. Anyway. Hold on. Let's touch base with Megan real quick, because Megan Thee Stallion, as we all know, was rushed to the hospital, but she was treated and released. And I believe she was treated for exhaustion. The first thing I thought was maybe appendicitis. Then I thought exhaustion. That was my second thing. So she was on Broadway. Doctors ultimately identified extreme exhaustion, dehydration, vasoconstriction, and low metabolic levels. So probably low in iron, things like that. And low metabolic, the cause of her symptoms. Megan has since been treated, discharged, and is now resting. So I think Megan needs to take the rest of this week off. Shout out to Allura Brooks, her page on Twitter. You know, Broadway's a different animal. Broadway is a different animal. I've covered, I've covered Broadway actors before, and trust me, their fight and their rituals are way different than a regular actor or a regular performer. You have to do like both. It's like you're acting and performing at the same time. So it's going to be double the work. All right. So shout out to Megan. A lot of people, saying, oh, I didn't see it. I didn't go see it, but I do see here a highlight where it said, you know what? I'm not even going to go over that. Something about people wishing death on Megan. Saying what? It's just, it doesn't make sense to me that people wish death on people they don't know. I mean, it's crazy. I don't even wish death on my enemies. Because, once you get hit with death, coming back. So I never subscribe to the wish death on somebody unless they would, if they killed one of my loved ones, then I'd probably wish death upon them. But for anything other than raping a child or raping or murdering somebody, I'm not going to wish death on anybody. Right? But if it's raping a child, then yes, you need to go. Right? So let's get into Nicki Minaj. And coming off the cups of what happened with Rihanna, right? Nicki Minaj, there was someone found. I ain't even gonna get into Christy Nom. There was an intruder. There was an intruder found on her premises, California. This is what is being said going down as a potential attempted home invasion. Now, let's see here. He's still talking about Newsom. Like, here we go. Los Angeles County deputies arrested 36-year-old Leland Adams, a white man with long hair, a big red beard, in gray tracksuit right on the spot without incident. Minaj, her husband, and their 5-year-old son were safely away at the time. Social media users quickly identified him from a recent March 27 arrest and release, raising alarms over California's bail policies and fears for the family's safety amid Minaj's past swatting incident and pleas to Governor Newsom for protection. Well, again, and Alex Brucevich, he is Nicki Minaj's new mouthpiece. I don't know why this new married white man has so much generated interest all of a sudden in Nicki Minaj. This guy goes out and protects Nicki Minaj more than his wife. You see men coming at his wife online, he said nothing. But as soon as somebody comes to Nicki Minaj, this guy jumps out there ready to take on the world.
Can I stay up for 5 more minutes?
Just really met her.
Please, just 5 more minutes. Yay, thank you.
So he wants to still put out there again the reason why no one takes it serious is because Alex Brucevich does exactly what MAGA does. He's going to try to use this and find out whether this guy's a Democrat. And he's going to say, oh, see, the Democrats. I guarantee you this guy's a Republican. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And Alex Brucevich, her new boyfriend, Nicki has also been hit with multiple swatting attempts in the state. Yeah, but she's not the only one, bro. And she's not the only celebrity. The only thing is those other celebrities don't go online and start bitching about the governor. There's plenty of people in California, celebrities, who've been swatted numerous times, but they don't go to the governor. They go to the authorities, and they haven't been swatted since. Maybe Nicki Minaj is getting swatted and getting trended because everyone knows where she lives. Nothing to protect her. Disgraceful. Okay? Here's old lying, ugly Paris the icon. This woman is not safe, and she hasn't been for years. Nobody cares because of her political views. She just went MAGA 20 minutes ago. What are you talking about? If she hasn't been safe for years, but she just came out as MAGA 20 minutes ago, then what's your excuse for the previous years? Listen, we just saw, right? Rihanna, someone walk up to her house, right? Someone walked up to her house and let off 10 shots. Walked up to her house and let off 10 shots in her home where her kids were, her mother was, and other people. And you know what's funny? I did not hear Rihanna yell at Gavin Newsom or bring Gavin Newsom up one time. And she was almost murdered. I have yet to hear Rihanna blame the governor. So there's a few people here that you have to blame if people are swatting and trespassing your house. And I'll give you the list. And it is not the governor. Okay? The very first person you need to blame is yourself, because everyone now knows where to find your address. And why do they know that? You can't even go private if you want to, because you always have to have your address public because of who you marry. All right? So let's get past that. Let's say, okay, she understands that everybody's going to know where she lives. All right? The second person in line you need to blame is your security. Or if you don't have security, you got to blame yourself again. Because what celebrity worth 150, $200 million don't got no security? You should have more than just some damn ring cam. You're Nicki freaking Minaj. When you're not there, you're going to tell me you don't have money to pay 24 hours around the clock security? And if you did have security, they need to be fired. If you have security, they need to be fired. Because there is no way, shape, no how that anybody, right, should be on your property. There's no reason why anyone should be on your property. Especially after this Rihanna situation. And y'all all pretty much live in the same area. You know, I'm not saying all in the same area like that, but what I'm saying is relatively rich area, right? And you know the protocol for what to do when your house is swatted. And it is not call the governor. There is nowhere on the protocol. If everybody wants to look up the protocol of reporting multiple swattings to your home, you'll know the protocol. And nowhere in there does it say contact government officials. Because a government official, their job, right? Their job is to just set the laws. Now, if you want to get on him about you need to do something about these swatting laws, then that's a conversation. But she's acting as though, oh, he has to personally go do something so she's protected. But she's not the only celebrity who's been swatted. She's also not the only celebrity who's been trespassed on. As I just said, Rihanna was almost killed. Killed. Could have easily been killed. And she did not blame the governor. She hasn't mentioned the governor at one time. So if she has not mentioned the governor one time, the only reason that they would mention the governor is for their own personal gain. Oh, we got to get this governor out of here. Nicki Minaj is in danger and the governor's done nothing. I mean, what does he want the governor to pay for her security for her? I don't know. But celebrities get swatted all the time. in California. They get swatted. All you see is people read about how many swatters and trespassers and stalkers these celebrities have, and you don't even never hear about it. It's almost like, unless it's something drastic like Rihanna's, it's like you never hear about it. Like if you Google how many stalkers have Kim Kardashian had, and then when the number comes up, you'll be like, what? I don't remember all this. I may have heard about one or two. But you talking about 10, 15 police reports. Why? Because they are going and using the right protocol. And that means they're going to call the police, call the SWAT team, call the FBI. They know that's the protocol. The protocol is not to call Gavin Newsom. And you don't know that Gavin Newsom is up this term for a new term or whatever. So you're going to try to use that as a way of saying he needs to be out of here. I want to see what some of the people are saying here. You know my comment, if he hasn't blocked me, is I said, but wait a minute. Just a week ago, somebody said, Nicki's playing chess. If you noticed, even though they were gaslighting, if you notice, ain't no swatting happened ever since she got with MAGA. Nicki playing chess. She know what she doing. First of all, stop it. There hadn't been swatting happen over a year before she came out with MAGA. That last swatting incident was like 2025, early in 2025. So that had nothing to do with it. But if her getting MAGA is supposed to stop everything, how did this happen? And I'm sorry, this dude don't give off the profile of no Democrat. I could be wrong. With that long hair and some of that. That don't really read, Democrat. Let me see if I can see some of the comments. First comment, we don't care. I promise you we don't. But look who said it. The DR Barty. Yeah. Here's another person. Don't y'all have the power? That's what I was saying. She isn't the only celebrity that was swatted. Rihanna's house was recently shot up, right? They arrested the man at Nicki's house. Nicki a billionaire, right? She needs to hire you to sit outside her home. And here's the thing. Somebody on your property, I don't care who they are, is not funny. It's not. Even if a lot of people are down on Nicki Minaj right now, she's still a human being, right? She's still a black icon, black woman, superstar, right? And if she's not important to you, she is still important to a lot of people, right? So it's not funny for someone to be on her property or for someone to be endangering her life or possibly endangering her life or her kid's life. Just like it wasn't funny for that person to be shooting at Rihanna's house. But you see, Nicki Minaj's people, the people she got behind her now, they want to try to use this as a political play. Rihanna didn't do that. Rihanna's caring more about her family and more about the safety of her and her family. This dude who's only using Nicki Minaj, I can promise you that. And I told all Nicki Minaj fans, and they just love it because, like I said, they don't care who, they don't care if it's Satan. If he says Nicki Minaj is the queen of rap, they will all say, oh yeah, Satan. I can, no, how about a Satan and Nicki collab? What do y'all think of that? Oh, a Satan and Nicki collab will be crazy. Whenever somebody sticks up for Nicki Minaj, it don't matter what they did in the past, her fan base starts saying, oh yeah, Alex, he's definitely a barb. Oh yeah, protect Alex. Alex Brucewitz don't give a fuck about Nicki Minaj. I don't understand what y'all don't understand about that. He's using Nicki Minaj for Donald Trump to garnish up as many votes and influence as they can to try to push them through these midterms. I can promise you, once these midterms pass, you will stop seeing Alan Brucewitz speak about Nicki Minaj. I can promise you that. Especially if they lose. So this guy, if you noticed, he must have signed on. Maybe, I'm sure Nicki isn't paying him yet, so it's probably, well, we'll barter if you come and speak for the president, right? If you come and speak for the president, we will speak on your behalf. Because wasn't she speaking to Tony Busby a couple of weeks ago? So wouldn't Tony Busby be her attorney? Shouldn't he be the one making the remarks? Not Alex Brucewitz? Alex Brucewitz's best friend is his lawyer. His lawyer also started defending Nicki Minaj, drew himself into the female rap beef. How come y'all not giving her a free, lawyer, a free attorney, and going out there and making sure that these swats stop? Alex, you're the assistant to the president or whatever they call him. Why aren't you going there and speaking with Gavin Newsom about protecting Nicki Minaj? You're not doing that because you know that is off of protocol. But what y'all like to do is put that online to gaslight the fans. So the fans can say, oh, look, Gavin Newsom, because he don't like Nicki Minaj, he just lets anything happen. He probably set it up. That's going to be the next thing. He probably set it up because Nicki was cooking him online. And Nicki exposed him. But the thing is this, man. You are a multimillionaire. You got millions of dollars. You're famous. At some point in time, and you just saw what happened to Rihanna. At some point in time, man, you gotta say, listen, I gotta take control of my own destiny here. I'm not letting nobody take me out. Right? So any more updates on that, we'll let y'all know. But this just goes to show to Nicki and her fan base who was bragging about her being MAGA, her being MAGA is not going to stop the same thing from happening. because politics don't got nothing to do with it. You got to get in with your police department and keep a relationship with them. Hell, hire some of them. Oh my God. Hire some of them. Some of them. Ooh, this pain is killing me. Trying to get through this. Let's see. Now, like I said, any updates on the Nicki situation, I'll let you know. Now, I want to get into Wanya and Brandy. So, Brandy just came out with a memoir, Phases. In this book, she mentioned her relationship with Wanya Morris from Boys Men, right? Now, everyone in the industry already knew about Brandy and Wanya way back in the day. And Wanya Morris was on the Breakfast Club, right? A few years ago, or let me see how long ago it was. And him and his Boys to Men bandmates was kind of giggling about him and Brandy. So 2014, this is 12 years ago, Angela Yee was still on the Breakfast Club. So check this out. Check this out. This is Wanya. Come on, man. Doing too much. Hold on. All right, so they're on the Breakfast Club. This is Boys to Men. I'll give y'all the backstory as he's talking. All right? I'll give y'all the backstory. So I'm going to fix his thing so we make sure this don't buffer. Well, 2014 is now what? Over 10 years ago, right? He's sitting there with Nate, Sean. Come on, man. Crazy, man. Hate when this happens. Okay. All right, so let's see. Here we go with this dude, right? Let me go back to one. So as we know, right? Brandy was the thing, like that. She was the girl in the 90s coming up. And that's why I always get a kick out of people when they say,
called you squirt.
as usual, Charlamagne laughing. And Charlamagne, let me tell you something.
That's what I was thinking. Brandy even said in her behind the music that you broke her heart because you fell in love with somebody.
Hold on. All right. So, and then as you see, he had to stop his other band members. It looked like they was getting ready to talk for him. So
And you had a celebrity relationship. Were you the only?
Hold on. All right. Here is Wanya Morris on the Breakfast Club over 10 years ago. And they start talking about Brandy. They start talking to Nate first, and they ask him about celebrity relationship. And I'm going to give you all the context of it as they're talking.
And you had a celebrity relationship. Were you the only one that was ever involved with a celebrity?
Who was he dating? Wanya was banging Brandy.
Brandy. He left her lonely.
Now, you see, Charlamagne, let me tell you why Charlamagne gets in these situations. And let me tell you why he did that. Charlamagne has been obsessed with Brandy ever since Fredro came out and said what a mean head game Brandy has. Fredro said it. Mace said it. So many guys have said it. And Charlamagne always can't wait to, for whatever reason, try to shit on Brandy. He was banging Brandy, like making her just sound so cheap. Instead of just saying he was in a relationship with Brandy. Wanya was banging Brandy. Right? I'm gonna get to your comments in a minute, Keish. But this is, remember, he did that to Fredro, and then him and Fredro almost got to fighting. Because Fredro said, "Why are you gonna do that? Why are you gonna disrespect her like that? I didn't even bring that up. You bringing up old stuff. Oh, but you said the head was amazing, and this and the other." So here's Charlamagne trying to get Wanya caught up. Mind you, this was 12 years ago. All right? This interview was 12 years ago. Keep that in mind.
Broken heart.
Bro. No, I didn't actually.
He was teaching Reggie how to do videos.
You taught Reggie how to do the segment. That's why they called you squirt.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, Brandy even said in her behind the music that you broke her heart because you fell in love with somebody else.
I mean, you only fall in love with somebody. You only fall out of love with somebody else if somebody makes you fall out of love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if that was the situation, if that's what she said, then
That's political. I like that.
I can't contest to her view about it. I can just only live by my view.
Revolt.
Mm-hmm.
Revolt.
They were saying she was really young when y'all dated.
Yeah, she was. Not that young. Not
God,
not
this
not
dude.
jailbait. No, that's what I'm saying.
Hold
on, but you know that's why. But hold on, that's why I stopped.
It be your own people, don't it? Yeah, she was. That's his damn brother. That's why he said this dude. It be your old damn people. Well, let's see.
Hold on, but that's why I stopped it and said that she wasn't that young, because I don't want y'all to think Boston Man was no.
She said
I was young too.
She said she was 15 and she had to keep it a secret because she was so young.
See, we did the thing. We did the thing when she was like 16, 17, around that time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You was so you were still a boy too.
I wasn't old.
You
I
wasn't
wasn't
too
like
many yet.
38 years old, nothing like that.
You were 6 years older. I believe Brandy was 16. He was 22. All right. If she was 15, he was 21. I believe she was 16 and he was 22.
I was old enough to. She was old enough to get it.
Okay. But was it legal in the state y'all was in?
I mean, we were always in different states.
So you see how Charlemagne is trying to get him caught up, and he's still kind of making a joke out of it. So Charlemagne said, we did about 16, 17. Oh, but in the state that you were in, was it legal at that time? Why would you ask him that now? You see what I'm saying? Trying to get him caught up. And then his response was, we was always in different states.
Was it legal? I mean, we was always in different states. We was on tour. Was it legal?
They had a nomad relationship.
You know what I'm saying? We just, we didn't do it in the states that it was legal. It was illegal.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Oh my gosh. Political.
No. It was, you know what I mean? It was a time. It was a relationship. It grew and it ungrew. I guess you could say that. Ungrew.
Squirted and it unsquirted.
Squirted and unsquirted. I like that.
So they just sat there pretty much and clowned Brandy. They sat there and clowned Brandy pretty much. Now, again, we're now coming back to the year 2026, where everything is now amplified and people are trying to rewrite history, right? People trying to rewrite history. Here's people saying Moesha actor Spanky Head reveals Kobe Bryant caught Wanya lacking over Brandy. I seen him sock Wanya in the mouth over her with a cast on his hand. Okay. Of course, Brandy and Kobe went to the Kobe Bryant took her to her prom. Now, Kobe Bryant was also, what, at that time? What was he, 18? 17? And she was under 18, so maybe he was 18, she was 17, or they're both 17 or what have you. Never any response of whether Brandy slept with Kobe Bryant. Like that's never came up. I think Brandy denied that they had any sorts of real relationship. I think she had said that he was actually in a relationship with somebody, but he still took her to the prom or whatever. Because I don't recall her saying that they were actually dating each other. So, but let me get back to this whole thing. Now, y'all saw 10 years ago. Okay. Y'all saw 10 years ago where Charlemagne, Angela Yee, and Envy pretty much laughed this off. They pretty much laughed it off, right? But now in 2026, what I call the cancel generation, the offended generation, right? Brandy and Brandy and Wanya from Generation X, the generation that raised themselves. That's what the no pain generation, whatever generation they call us, the no pain generation, the generation that raised themselves, the lonely generation, like whatever little nicknames you have for our generation, that's the generation Brandy's from. Now, let me let you know Brandy was 15, 16, dating Wanya Mars at 21, 22. Right? That was going on every day in the hood, every day in the neighborhoods. You want to know why no one said anything, or do you want to know why they didn't say it? Because it was normal. It was normal to them. It was made a normal lifestyle then. So when a lot of people back then, girls didn't get passes. Like how they give everyone pass. Oh, she was just a kid. Oh, this, that, oh, manipulation. So. When you did that back then, you know what you say? Fast in the ass. Stop being fast. You were held accountable just as much as the men, more so than the men, because they would always tell girls, a man gonna be a man. A man gonna be a man. It's up to you. It's your decision, unless he grapes you. But those women back then, like I said, man, I can remember. But again, Nicki, you have to remember, this is not the same generation, right? It's a totally different generation. I'm not saying it should be like that now. I'm saying it was like that then, right? And I don't remember how many days we used to come outside, and then there was this girl named Goldie. Goldie, back in them days, she came up around the same time as Misa Hilton. And they were the only two chicks in New York at the time rocking blonde hair. They were the only two black girls rocking blonde hair. It was Misa Hilton in the city, and Goldie was also a stylist, but she was in Long Island. And Goldie was that girl on Long Island. She was like the Misa Hilton of Long Island. And Goldie, when she was 15, 16 years old, she had drug dealers 22, 23 pulling up to the high school in the new Benz or the new Volvo or the new Saab with the rag top. And she would strut right up out that high school, 16 years old, jump right in this dude's car. Right? Jump right in this dude's car, and we'd be like, damn, we ain't got no chance at Goldie. You know what I'm saying? We don't got no chance at Goldie. Now, again, my sister came up in that area, but my sister didn't date older guys. She wasn't attracted to older guys like that. She wanted guys in her age bracket. You know, my sister, I think she started dating at, her first boyfriend was probably like 15, 16 years old when she was the first. And I think her first boyfriend was like 17. So I think my sister, God bless her dad, she started dating at like 15. Her first boyfriend was 17. Now, we're not saying that Brandy's mother normalized it. She obviously didn't, because Brandy was lying to her, right? So Brandy's mother didn't normalize it. She obviously may have had an issue with it That's why Brandy was lying to her and sneaking around. Right? But where people start saying he is no different from R. Kelly, it's a big difference. Number one, it's a 6-year difference. R. Kelly was 12 years older than Aaliyah. Right? Going on 13. The second thing is R. Kelly took it into the next generation. Right? R. Kelly didn't just stop with that relationship. Now, I don't know what happened with Wanya. I know who Wanya dated after that. Wanya just got on a roll after Brandy. He was knocking down Adina Howard. He was knocking down Left Eye at one point. So Left Eye and Adina Howard is actually two of the girls he cheated on Brandy with. Well, Brandy's not going to oust Left Eye because she's not here anymore. Right? So she's not going to oust she's not going to oust Left Eye. So, and Adina Howard has kind of already told that story a couple of times, right? But then, again, I remember Nia Long. I remember Nia Long telling a story not long ago where she said she dated somebody who was 30 in high school and she was 18. You know, my mother knew about it, right? My mother knew about it. She said her boyfriend was 30. And I think she said she was turning 18 or she was 18, what have you. But she did say she was in high school. Right? But again, Brandy, after that, let's take after she was no longer a child. So 10 years after that, when she's what? 26. Right? About 36. Why now? I'll tell you why now. Because she recently got called out on the current timeline by Maze and Shine. Right? And remember, that's when she said, oh, I'm putting out my book and I'm going to tell my story. But that interview, she was quiet and she was going to stay quiet. She was never going to speak on their relationship. But that interview he did with the Breakfast Club got his ass put in that book. Right? The whole, I'm going to, already in the making beforehand. Right. So when she saw him on that, and I haven't read the book, but I wonder if she's got Fredro in that book. I'm very interested to see whether she says anything about Fredro in that book. Because remember, he's the one that started going around talking about how amazing Brandy's head game was. He's the one who started that. And then after that, 50 Cent said something. And then Mace said something. So I just wonder if she says anything about Fredro in this book. But the point that I'm making is, I see some people now, they want to cancel Wanya. So you want to cancel Wanya in 2026, right? For number one, something that he spoke about 10 years ago, and y'all don't want to cancel him then, right? And something that most of y'all that talk about, not all of you, but most of you that say, oh, he's a PDF or whatever, or he needs, that's disgusting, or y'all wasn't even around back then. You know what I'm saying? Y'all wasn't even around back then. It's the same thing that I always give for my grandfather and my grandmother. When they first told me that they were 16 years apart. And when I was coming up, I was like, damn, y'all that far apart? Like, what the fuck? But then they said to me, back in them days, most of the parents wanted their daughter to marry what they call a distinguished gentleman. So that was the thing back in the, 30s and 40s and stuff like that. The parents would say they want their daughters to marry distinguished gentlemen. So they would come to the house dressed in their coat and suit and whatever, talk to my great-grandparents, and they would say, how old are you? 30 or whatever. My grandma was 18 or whatever case she was. And then they would say, all right, we give you a blessing to date our daughter. Right? But when they first told us that story, I was like, oh, hell no. But back then, it was okay. So now, it's the same thing with this situation. The reason why I don't look at it crazy is because I saw that every single day. Not just with celebrities. Right? It's just that nowadays, right? Nowadays, everything is amplified because of social media. Everybody is so-called offended. Everybody got mental health issues. Everybody has been groomed. That's the new word everybody likes to use. Groom and coerced and this, that, and the third. Right? Wherein 15 years from now, they may say, nah, it doesn't matter what age you were. it's not appropriate to fly girls out, or it's not appropriate to give girls gifts after sex, or pay women to go on vacation, or whatever the case may be. And then all these people that's doing that right now, people 15 years from now is going to try to cancel you. And you go back, but it was, everybody was doing it, right? You go back, yeah, but that's not appropriate now. And if we can go back on the internet and find out that you was doing it, well, we're going to cancel you now. So my whole thing is, if Brandy had a reported Wanya back then by all means, if there was reports and they found out, well, people just didn't do anything or what have you, and then you found out now that Wanya was paying people off and so like that, then I'm all for it. But other than that, man, leave that man alone. Brandy, for you to say, oh, now that I think of it in hindsight, he took advantage of me. So you're realizing now, what, 30 some odd years later, you're just now realizing he took advantage of you. And then they come with that bullshit about, oh, yeah, well, Stockholm syndrome. Man, Stockholm needs nuts. I don't want to hear none of that bullshit. I don't want to hear none of that bullshit about Stockholm syndrome and, oh, it took a while to get the fuck out of here. Because the only time this ever seems to happen, the only time this ever seems to happen, and I'm not saying that she is, I would not expect her to, but who knows? The only time that this ever seems to happen is when this person is starting to run low on money. Because who have you ever heard or seen a person who's still rich oust their accuser? Name me the person. Right? Name me the person. When they're at the top of their game, right? And they still got money, and they've been abused, you never see them name their accuser. I mean, or name their person, the person who's done it. Never. Brandy is probably the most popular and richest or whatever person to ever name, to ever say on the accuser's name, or y'all know what I'm trying to say. So now she's named Wanya, right? And I feel as though he took advantage of me. So now Wanya's got to come out and make another statement at some point, because they still do shows, still get books like that. And if he just lets this go, right, he's gonna find himself in a bad situation. My whole thing is, unless they were still doing it like R. Kelly, right? R. Kelly could have avoided his situation because they took him to court. They didn't win. But the only reason that R. Kelly got in trouble is because he kept going. And he kept doing it. And then even after 10 years down the line, when the policy changed, and then 10 years after that, this ninja was still doing it. But my whole thing is, and I was brought up in that era. My sister was brought up in that era. If you see something, say something. Brandy said that she knew what she was doing was wrong. She knew what she was doing was wrong. And I am very sure that her mom is not just now finding out. I'm very sure her mother found this out years ago. So why didn't she report Wanya then? I guarantee you that Brandy's mother found out the day that Wanya broke up with Brandy, or Brandy broke up with Wanya. I'm sure by then the mother found out that Brandy was sleeping with Wanya. So why didn't her mother, who so-called this protective force, why didn't her mother report Wanya? It was the same thing with R. Kelly, right? Aaliyah's mother and father, they knew about R. Kelly. So why they didn't report R. Kelly? Because the mother started fucking him too. The mother started smashing R. Kelly. So instead of her, here, this is how I'm going to protect you, I'll just start fucking him. And then, this won't get out. And then I will blackmail him to stop seeing you. You don't worry about him. I'll take care of him. And the parents never say anything until they're out of money. And that's the way it works. So I just hope, right? I just hope Brandy isn't saying something now because it's a money grab. That's the only thing I hope. It's the only thing I hope. Because listen, man. Everybody from that era that is in their 50s, 60s now, whatever, I'm sure they can all think back at some bullshit that they did. And that's the reason why the people at the freak-offs, not the freak-offs, the Freaknik was so afraid when the documentary came out. And they were like, well, hell no, I wouldn't want my daughter doing that. But that was back then. Everybody was doing it back then. Dudes was pulling girls' halter tops off at the Freakniks, at the Greek picnics. That used to be a thing, like, yo, we're going to go halter pulling. But girls wasn't getting them arrested for sexual assault. When dudes was pulling off girls' halters, they used to do that around my way, like on if it's 4th of July or something like that. But it was really, really prominent at like the Greek Fest and stuff like that, and the Greek picnic and the Freaknik. Like, yo, We going halter pulling. All the girls that had to lose halters, grab as many halters. You see who. Let's see who can grab off. Who's gonna grab off the most halters. And the girls, they may scream or like mother effer or such and such and such. Or if the girl had a boyfriend, the boyfriend might get into the fight. But they never was like, oh, I'm going to report him to the police. And when that video came out of the Freaknik, everybody was trying to look up the person and see if they can file charges against them. Really? Now? Listen, man. I'm all for if somebody grabbed somebody, took them somewhere, raped them, and told the person or threatened the person to never say nothing. And that person was so afraid they didn't say nothing until all these years, and now they feel powerful enough to say something. And then they go report that person. I'm all for it. But I'm gonna take the same stance, and people didn't like it when I did it then, and people ain't gonna like it now. And you can get mad at me for my take, but I'm not the one who did it. Right? See, that is the issue now with this generation, the social media generation. They think because of how they see things now, everybody else, if they don't see things the same way, oh, you're a pedo too. Oh, you must defend it because were doing it. No, nigga, you don't know me. You don't know what I was doing. Right? So you can't tell me what I was doing and what I wasn't doing. What I'm saying is you can't get someone in trouble now for something back then that was pretty much normal. Just because it ain't normal now. Right? That's like, let's say this year they ban what's the when you got 2-3 wives, polygamy, right? Let's say they ban polygamy this year. You can't be like next year have somebody or 5 years from now go back and try to get somebody who was a polygamist in 2020 and be like, oh yeah, lock him up like he was a polygamist. That's against the right. Yeah, but it wasn't then. It was not then. Rape has always been illegal, right? Statutory rape is illegal if caught or reported. That's what it's called, statutory rape. So you would have to be caught or reported. And like back in those days, even sometimes when guys got caught, if they like, oh, do you want to press charges? And if the girl's like, no, mama, please, no. And if the mother says no because of the child, then that person went on about their business. The state didn't just say, oh, yeah, well, you know what? We're going to lock up anyway. Unless they really grape them. Like, it don't matter what age you are. But, yeah, man. I just think that Brandy, I would have liked it way better if she had a said, yeah, I knew what I was doing. Because one thing about Aaliyah, I don't think Aaliyah, I have to go back. I don't think Aaliyah ever fully blamed R. Kelly. I got to go back. But I know Aaliyah, when it first happened, was saying, I can't even lie, I was pressuring him. I was pressuring him. He was like, I don't want people to know. But then she pressured him to dress alike. You know what I'm saying? Like when that thing happened on 106 in Park, she later came out and said that was her idea. He also told her, don't wear that wedding band. But she wore it anyway. Right? And that's when everybody was like, wait a minute, are you wearing a wedding band? So that's why Aaliyah, who was the same age when she got married as Brandy was, I don't think Aaliyah ever said it was totally not my fault. I believe what she said, she knew what she was doing. She could have stopped, but she didn't want to. Right? So at that point in time, you say, yeah, well, then R. Kelly should have stopped. But then once they made R. Kelly stop, what did Aaliyah do? Broke out the house, went to Detroit to find R. Kelly. Right? So she said, yeah, I knew it was wrong, but I didn't care. So Gen X is the generation of accountability. We're the ones that walked around with the keys around our neck because more than likely our parents wasn't going to be home when we got home from school. They probably wasn't home when we left for school. So we had to make sure we either had the key around our neck or the key underneath the mat when you get home. And such, there's chicken on the oven. Make sure you serve your parents. Shine and Brandy. Well, see, the thing with Shine and Brandy is that's still unclear because Shine made it unclear. During one interview, Shine said Brandy shut him down. And Brandy put him in his place and said, you don't even have a hit record. Then Shine said he got the hit record and he was seeing Brandy. But Mace was like her boyfriend. But the way Shine made it seem as though at first she was like, get a hit record first. And then he says, like later on, like they did something. Brandy says it was a platonic friendship, meaning they didn't do anything sexual. That's what a platonic friendship is. Mace just laughed. Yeah, see, I was special. I was special. Yeah, like this. You know, and he came along and he wanted to be special too. So he tried to be special. But I was a special one. You talk like you special. So everybody's pretty much clowning Brandy. Everyone's pretty much clowning Brandy because Mace could have said right there, nah, you ain't never date my girl. But Mace didn't say that. So either Mace believes Shine or he's not going to vouch for Brandy. Because it doesn't really seem as though only Jay-Z seems as though they're still cool. I don't even know if he's still cool with Jay-Z. Probably is. But Brandy triggered a lot of exes. Beyonce and her don't get along. That's because Brandy used to mess with Jay. And there may have been a time after Jay and B started dating that maybe Jay-Z text Brandy or whatever. But they've never gotten along. Mace doesn't give a crap at this point. Why should he? I don't know. It's just the reason why I say that is because there's a lot of guys from that generation that has never kissed and told. There's a lot of guys, right? Look at New Edition. You don't think that New Edition done ran through actresses, right? But you don't see New Edition out there ousting women, right? You gonna tell me Ralph Tresvant? Ralph Tresvant and that damn Ricky Bell, them two was probably smashing the most Hollywood chicks. But you don't see them now, mainly Ricky probably because he's still with the same wife from back then, and he'd probably be outing himself. But Ralph Tresvant, that was like our generation's Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? So, but Mace is still in the current structure, right? Mace is still in the current structure, so I guess he really don't care whether to protect Brandy or whatever. Him and Brandy probably ain't cool anymore anyway. It kind of feels like Fredro is still cool with her because he stopped saying those things about her. So I think she must have checked Fredro and said, damn, man, like, why are you doing that? Why you had to put that out there? Because nobody even knew that she really was with Fredro. Now, granted, he didn't lie and say he smashed. He just said, no, I never effed her. He said, I was trying to, but she was with Wanya. He been said that a long time ago. And he was like, but the head was crazy, though. I mean, so, you know, Brandy, of course, she's just going in. She just got her walk on the Star of Fame, going into the Hall of Fame probably someday. So she wants to try to save what part of her image that she can. And I get it. But I would have much rather her say, listen, in hindsight, I should have reported him. I should have reported him because What he did, is unacceptable. But I didn't, and that's on me. That's what I wish she would have said. So instead of putting it out there for the internet, because she knows exactly what the internet's going to do. Wanya ain't the most popular dude anyway. And it's the same way how the internet treated Herb Gotti when it was Ashanti who was sleeping with a married man that she knew was married, right? And she was of age. She wasn't even underage. She was of age. She was sleeping with Herb Gotti. She knew Herb Gotti was married. And she still continued to sleep with Herb Gotti. But the internet only ate up Herb Gotti. They let Ashanti live. No accountability. I don't like that. I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? When you should have no accountability is when you're a little girl, or don't even gotta be a little girl. If you're a woman or girl and somebody comes and grabs you and overpowers you and grapes you, you have no accountability. Or if you're out with somebody and they trick you into going somewhere with them, and then they grape you and threaten you not to say nothing, you don't need no accountability for that. But if you out here in a relationship with them, knowing what you're doing is wrong, but you're still going to do it anyway, right? Then he breaks your heart. And now, years later, you want to say, oh, nah, you don't get that from me. You don't get that from me. I save all my empathy and sympathy for real victims. This is the same thing I said with Cassie, right? And when I came out and said that, I was the only person saying it. I lost friends over that, over what I said about Cassie. Now look, she getting sued left and right of dudes saying the same thing, that she should be right in jail with Puff. She wasn't no child. She wasn't drugged up. She wasn't hypnotized. None of that. She made those decisions on her own accord. And she should be right in jail with Puffy. If that's what he went to jail for, if he went to jail for hiring escorts, guess who hired those escorts? Cassie. Guess who slept with those escorts? Cassie. There was never no gun to her head. There was never no threat on her life. If you don't do this, I'm going to kill you. If you don't do this, I'm going to... Cassie was in her 20s. That's why I never gave her the grace y'all gave her, because y'all don't give black women that same grace. But y'all going to give the mulatto and the mixed chick and y'all going to give them grace that you don't give black women. If it had came out that he was doing that to Young Miami, y'all would have said, oh, too bad. That's what she get. That's what she get. See? Sitting up in there, taking up for him, and this and other. That's what you get. Y'all wouldn't have gave Carisha that same grace. She stayed away. She didn't do the freak offs and still caught way more flack. She didn't even do the freak offs and caught way more flack. Anyway, y'all. Boy Heaven Hollywood. Y'all make sure, man, to tap in. Make sure you got me on Twitch. Add me on Twitch if you don't have it. Twitch.tv/Heaven Hollywood. That's really much it, man. Make sure y'all join the Patreon. Have new videos dropping every single day on the Patreon. That took the place of my members only. This one's way more active. You get a video, at least one video a day. If you want to help support me in this time of need and despair, just my Cash App is Heaven Hollywood. I can put my GoFundMe joint. Do I have a GoFundMe right now? Hold on. I can try to find. If not, y'all can just go to my Instagram page. Right? Yeah, y'all can just go to my Instagram page and support me through my GoFundMe. I'm going through it right now, trying to make it. Trying to make it, but yo, I appreciate y'all, man. I'll be back with y'all tomorrow. All right. Peace.